So let's take it a little bit of a step back to you sitting in your truck. So you were like, all right, I need to do this thing and I'm going to set up my bumpers. I'm going to do this for 30 days. And then you told some people. You told your wife, you told a couple friends, and there's accountability there. And then you were like, all right, I am uncomfortable as shit. So how do I do this sort of comfortably? Because you don't want to completely, traumatize yourself as you're trying to get into something. So you made the call of, all right, this is my comfort zone. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to be comfortable yet uncomfortable. And then by the end of that, was it really as scary as you thought it was going to be? Or were you like, shit, I'm doing it?
It really comes down to, I think, imposter syndrome, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I see Lane Norton. I see the guy from Jim Army. I can't say his last name. Like, you see all these people out there that are like really smart in your space. And in your mind, I go, shoot, I don't think I know all the stuff that they know. But in reality, what they're doing is they're speaking their level of knowledge, right? And that's what they are really good at. I need to just speak to what I know and what I'm really good at. And if I just speak to my level, then I'm going to be okay. Like, I don't need to try to impress other coaches because other coaches aren't paying me. A general population of people is paying me. Women and men that want to get stronger and lose weight who don't know jack shit about fitness and health are paying my bills. Not the coach over here that has 1 million followers who I think is going to one day see me and then like call me out. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm going to lose my whole business. They don't know who I am at all. But yet in my mind, I'm saying, shoot, I'm competing against them whenever I'm a baby minnow trying to swim out in the ocean. Once you realize that and you understand that, hey, like, you're not on the big boy level yet, just speak to who you know you can speak to and help. Once you get really clear on that, you can get rid of some of the imposter syndrome of wanting to compete with the people that you idolize.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem is so many of us see our idols and we're trying to speak up to them when really and truly that's not who we need to be speaking to. We need to be speaking to the people that are going to relate to you, who understand what you're saying and feel that pain. And so when I can just simply speak to the pain of what I can fix with my clients, they're going to resonate with that and then come over there. And then I could start to feel more comfortable with that. Because once you understand you're speaking the same language as the people you're trying to help, that's when you can start to actually build your business and get really comfortable because you see that they need your help and that you can help them. So being in my truck for 30 days and going live and, pushing that comfort zone, it was actually really freeing at the end of it because it started to help me get better at being on camera. It started making me better at doing podcasts. I mean, I remember the first time I ever did a podcast and I was on one that is actually in my space, a pretty popular one. And it was through a connection with my coach. And I almost want to hit that guy back up and be like, man, I have no clue why you let me on. Like, I'd never done a podcast before. I was so nervous and trying to be like, I was trying to sound way too cool and smart as if like I was on that level. And I just needed practice. I just needed practice at doing podcasting and being on a podcast. And he kind of popped my cherry and I go back and I listen to it sometimes and I'm like, God almighty, I sucked ass on that podcast. That was terrible. But you kind of have to fail again. Like, it comes back to it. Like, I had to go on that podcast and just be afraid of what I was going to sound like in order to get over the fear of what I was going to sound like. And once you kind of mess up, you're almost like, well, can't fuck it up any worse than that, can I? Like, like, that was pretty bad. So it can only go up from here, right?
Yeah.
And, it's the more, once again, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with doing a podcast or being on video and talking to large groups of people. I run a challenge, once a quarter, and we had almost 100 people in our last challenge. And I'm on a Zoom call in front of close to 70 people out of the 100 that showed up. And I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. Like, I got 70 freaking people here on a Monday night listening to me talk about fitness and nutrition. That's really fucking cool. And so for me, it's like, I had to kind of suck because the first time I ever ran a challenge like that, I think I had 6 or 7 people show up. And, a year later, I have 70 some odd people.
Yeah.
So it's step by step. Like, where you are right now is probably where you're supposed to be. But it doesn't mean that's where you have to stay. You just have to get the reps in. And the more time you spend underneath the bar, so to speak, and the better you get being underneath the weight of the bar, using gym terms, the better you get. You know, if I go and try to do a squat for the first time with a barbell on my back, it's probably going to look a little funky. But the more that I do it and the more weight that I add, the stronger I get, the better at it I get. And the more you progress to where you can then maybe, I don't know, squat 300, 400 pounds, like over time. I think with anything, it's just repetition, and getting after it, and just knowing that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to always go the way that you envision it. I mean, I can guarantee you this, like in my head, the dream of like being on a podcast and like what I would talk about, you go to bed at night and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm going to say this and it's going to go this way. And then it doesn't go that way at all. In fact, you're like, Jesus Christ, like where were you going with that? so you know, like you just got to learn in failure. And there's, I tell my clients this too. I'm like, every time you fail, you grow. Every time you fail, you learn something new. And as long as you don't keep dwelling on the failure and you actually look at what you're going to learn from the failure, you'll get better. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen overnight, but you will learn and you will get better, and it's okay. It's okay to mess up. We all are going to mess up. We're going to mess up way more than we succeed. And you're damn sure not going to succeed on the first try. So go fuck up. It's going to be okay.